Hi, Marcia. How are you?
Hi, hello. All good. I saw the meeting
Great.
popping up, so I joined.
I'm glad you joined. It looks like it's going to be a little slow today, but we'll get it there. I'm going to try and pull some F5ers into this because we've already at F5 started the use case build out. So that will, I think, help with this conversation and help start creating a little momentum back again in this space.
Okay, yeah, I'm interested because I started with the first ones when I did with Pensando and then with NVIDIA, so I have Marvel one on the track, so to speak,
Awesome.
towards
Awesome.
me.
Awesome.
I have some Bluefield trees. I have few DPUs, so I'm interested.
Do you want to see what we did?
Uh, it's the one from the OCP.
Yep.
Yeah, I was at OCP.
Oh, you
I
were.
yeah, I talked with Paul in person.
Did I see you there? Did I miss you?
No, I don't think we saw each other there, but I saw Paul, I recognize him, so
Good, good. So you did get to see the demo and you got to see what we did.
yeah, and I'm interested like if we want to take it further and add also like
Me
traffic
too.
and other things besides the bring
Yes.
up. So
Absolutely.
I'm interested to know how we can collaborate, even outside of OPI or something to
Yeah. So where
make
am I?
it work.
Are you from? Are you at Keysight?
Yeah, I'm from Keysight and
Oh,
I'm in
great.
California. So
Perfect. So you were actually the person that I wanted to talk to. I want to figure out how to get it in the F5 environment, and then we have to figure out how to get it in the OPI environment. So
yeah,
I have questions about the OPI environment, what we're already building, and what exists and what doesn't for
okay.
OPI.
Okay.
In the OPI lab, because we need to have sort of eyes on that. And then I'm going to pull in two of our engineers, a guy named Randy Neal and a guy named Don Flinsbach to this. Once I talk to them I'm talking to them tomorrow afternoon. So hopefully I'll be able to get them into this meeting by next week.
Yeah, so let me see if this works. So kind of this is how the OPI labs look like, but this is at this moment a request to have the hardware installed. So hardware
Uh-huh.
was received mostly. I
Okay.
think the only one that was not received is the PDU, which gives the power, this red bar here,
Right.
but
Right.
was shipped today. And I don't have a confirmation they got yet the 100 gig cables. They should have everything else,
Okay.
and they have a task raised to install it.
Okay. Oh, so like you had to fill out a task request. Okay. Are you the person that's quote unquote managing?
Yeah, the lab, and basically you come here and you say, hey, I want blah blah blah, and you say I want 3 of this, and you pay them for $50 or whatever, and they do it. So yeah, I'm raising tickets and so on, and this is what they are working on. I think prices in theory are confidential and so on, but the diagram, IPs, and everything should be. Once it's up, once they bring at least one up, I'm gonna start working with them on IP addressing, and then how do we get access in the lab from outside. So
Okay.
hopefully that shouldn't take more than 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, but I have a clone of this in my lab, basically. So
Okay.
all the work I do, I have a replica of this in my lab.
Okay.
And of course, I have here our Keysight gear as well and so on. Now, I mean, here we use the
You
traffic.
haven't sent traffic yet, right?
For traffic, we use the software traffic generator in OPI for now because OPI, it's all about API, not necessarily performance. Hey, Paul.
Hey, how are
Sorry,
you?
we already started a bit. I
No,
was
that's okay. I
showing
For
something
some
about
reason
the
this was
lab.
on my calendar for 10. I don't know why.
Morning. And hi, Paul. How are you guys doing?
Good.
So Marcia and I it's Marcia, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If I mispronounce your name, please smack my hand. Thanks.
It's
I
Paul.
will, I will
Paul.
not do it.
Paul.
I'll say.
Paul.
Paul. Yeah, yeah, that's it.
My name is Laura.
Uh-huh. There we go. Hey,
Laura.
Steven, long time no see. How you
Hey,
doing?
how's it going, Paul? It's been an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm.
How about those 7:30 a.m. meetings?
Yes.
While my kids yell in the background for waffles. Hi, Stephen. How are you doing?
I'm all right.
Good. Where do you live, Stephen?
Me, I live in Central Texas. So I'm in the
Okay.
suburb of Austin.
Austin, great town. Marcia and I were just talking about what is in the lab in California, what the OPI.
I mean, I don't know if it's California. It's HE, Hurricane Electric. I
It's
have no idea where they're located.
Yeah, it's in Fremont, California.
Oh,
So it's in the
okay.
Bay Area, the other side of the bay.
I was right.
I
I like
see.
being right. This is my one time I get to be right today.
There you go.
Okay, so we were talking about what's going on in the lab in California, but we started out with what what we did at OCP, because and Stephen, have you seen that use case at all, or that proof of concept?
I'm sorry, which one?
The OPI proof of concept that the OPI team delivered at OCP.
Open Compute Summit.
I don't know what was delivered. I was not there.
Well,
Okay.
let me show you. Okay, and Mersha also has a proof of concept that he's built out that's similar. Can you see this? Or are you seeing my no, you can see that.
Yep, I see it.
Okay, so essentially what we did was we took an x86 bare metal host and we put a DPU, in this case it was a Marvell, on it. We built out 3 VLANs, an internal VLAN, an external VLAN, and a management VLAN. And on the management VLAN, we put all of the OPI API services. And then we configured the DPU that's sitting on the x86 bare metal host with the OPI API services. And then we orchestrated the environment leveraging Red Hat SNO, and we loaded an Nginx proxy on top of it. And then behind it, we put OpenShift on the x86 bare metal host and deployed a bunch of web servers via Red Hat OpenShift. Okay, I might be using the terminology slightly incorrectly, but essentially the goal was to build out a Red Hat SNO hosting an Nginx proxy on a DPU with a series of web servers living behind it, so that we could ideally deliver traffic against it.
Yep.
But the real thing that we were trying to show here is that we could build out the environment leveraging the OPI API work that has already been built. That was the goal of the proof of concept. The original goal of the proof of concept was, can you deploy a DPU, right? Out of box, what's the out of box experience of a DPU? And from a vendor specific perspective, and how vendor specific is it? How hard is it? What's ugly about it? And what feedback do we need to give to all of the DPU manufacturers that are participating in OPI? That was the first thing that we did. The first card that we had was the Marvell CN1026. So that was the first one that we deployed. And we learned a lot, actually. We learned a significant amount of information just in that space alone. Then we started playing around with the OPI APIs, and we use them, and I say we, and I actually mean Paul. So as usual, I'm speaking for Paul. And then we deployed the BF3, and we also deployed the Intel Mount Evans.
Dayton Peak.
Dayton Peak. Well, the Dayton Peak is on the Mount Evans, correct?
Dayton Peak is the non-Google Mount Evans.
Thanks.
So.
So anyway, important semantics aside, and important clarifications aside, the whole purpose of this was to baseline show what's hard, what's not hard. What do we need to go back to everybody and tell them about making certain things unified? Where are customers going to have problems with the software too? Because we did have some pretty major hurdles with Red Hat SNO that weren't Red Hat actually specific issues. They were configuration issues, but there's still a lot of complexity there. And then what do we need to talk to everybody about SCTP, about the way that we're leveraging SCTP, because we have problems with that as well. And I believe that Boris got a good deal of information from participating in this with Paul.
Yep.
And
we cleaned up the repos and found some problems that hadn't been discovered yet, because it only been run against the code in the repos had only been run against a simulator. And when we were trying in a different environment using real hardware, we found some things we had to fix. And there's Boris now.
Boris, we were just talking about you.
You need
And
me?
we're saying all nice things. How are you doing today?
Good.
So anyway, back to this. So really what was interesting and some of the stuff that we found out just from doing the presentation was who was interested in what we were talking about. So we have a list of people that came by to speak, and I can send that to everybody if you guys want to see that. But what was fascinating was how much time like Tesla spent talking to us, and also Geico. And Geico didn't actually see the use case once they first came up to talk to us. And we had an E&E there, a guy named Don Flinsbach, a senior E&E, who basically said, you know, you can do this with it, you can do that with it, you can do this with, you can deploy this with this environment, etc. And the lights started flipping on for all of these vendors, right? Like how you can leverage DPUs either in, you know, automation spaces or refactoring your network to make it a private environment, going from public cloud to private cloud. Like people started making up the use cases in their own heads. And that's what was the fascinating thing about being able to demo this. And we want to be able to do it again for Mobile World Congress, but we also want to keep building these out. Like we haven't done traffic generation against this yet. So that's sort of internally to F5, kind of our next step. But we also have to figure out how to do that in the environment that we have in Fremont, California, and also in Mersha's lab, because Mersha also has an environment. I know, Boris, you have an environment as well. So what we probably need to do, I think, in this call is the first thing I think we need to do is sort of break out the environments and see where everybody's at on their individual environments. And the next thing we need to do is talk about how we want to approach the environment that's in Fremont. And Mersha and I were sort of jumping into that already when everybody else joined, because I figured it was just going to be me today. And then you guys started joining and it made me really happy. It made my heart full. So, and I think Mersha and Boris are pretty happy, and Paul looks pretty delighted too. Steven, I can tell you definitely a poker player.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that for me, at least, I would like to, a little bit before we jumping into more technical stuff, I would like to understand what you guys feel as a scope of this group is going to be, because I'd like to understand if we are going to do like scripting and integration to kind of use the existing tools and deploy them, running shell scripts, Docker Compose stuff and stuff like that. That's one. Then we can use the labs and maybe demo it, showcase, record, post it. That's one level of engagement. The other level of engagement, which I have seen very little of OPI, is are we going to write any code that we're going to contribute, right, in open source manner, beyond scripting, right? So that's, I would like just to understand, like, from the resources that we have and the focus that we have, what's our goal is going to be.
I think that's a good question. I think we need to decide that group, right? And I also think we need to make sure that everybody that's attending is considering consistently being engaged in this. So actually what I want to know first is who's here to watch and who's here to contribute.
Yeah. So Boris, to your question,
I'm
I know
contributing.
that to your question, I'm here to play, but I'm not going to be the one that writes code. I will help drive that, and I'll help use it and test it, but writing it isn't my forte, as you know. So that's my role. I'd like to see this group take the other pieces of OPI, the API group, the lifecycle group, and what's developed there, and turn it into showcaseable demos. I believe that's going to require scripting. I can help with that. I don't know. There are some things like it. Cheaton, I think you're from Marvell, and we spoke earlier this week about some of the updates to SCTP that your team made that took the demo one step beyond where I had done it. Actually taking the ISO image that's put on the DPU, and then having the agent DD that to a bootable location, make that location bootable, and then reboot the card so that that can be installed. I think you guys had you've got some code to take that to the next level beyond what I was able to show at the demo. I know that I haven't seen it yet, and I know that you promised it end of day or sometime this week. So I'll take a look at that and go from there. Hoping that we can then take and contribute that back to the group. I don't know if it'd go in the SCTP directory or if it'd be part of the PoC repo, but that would be a next step. I think it needs to be decided on if that's a next step we want to do as a group, but that would be code that could be contributed by this group of folks.
This is good. I just wanted to quickly address the comment previously that was made is we are taking the work that was done in different other groups. We just need to be very realistic what other groups are doing.
Yep.
Other groups are not producing any code. We cannot take anything. API group is talking about APIs, maybe writing the APIs. They're not producing any code, except for maybe protobufs.
Okay.
Lifecycle is talking about Redfish, PLDM, and management aspects. They're not producing any code. So there is no code produced in OPI except for, ad hoc maintainers kind of thing that we are driving with maybe a little bit different company. So if we want to continue that model, means no problem. We can do that. I'm brainstorming. So we can do that, and we can take the existing code from either produced inside OPI, outside OPI, write scripting, play with it. And like Marvell and others that expanded a little bit the existing code, we can incorporate all of that. But if we are lacking something or found a bug, who is going to fix it? I'm not sure there is a group other than this one that can actually give an umbrella to the people who want to come in and code. For example, we created SPDK bridges for every single company. We created the EVPN gateway for Intel and Ericsson, right, that others can use. And there is no group that actually doing this actively. There is no manager or lead of this group. There is no.
So if I understand correctly what you're asking for, Boris, you really want to see a group that's dedicated to doing what specifically? I mean, you're scripting and coding, but what do you see as the goal of that group, even if it's not that group in name? What's the precise thing that you want them to do? What do you want them to build?
For example, let's take the storage, right? SPDK.
Mm-hmm.
So what we did is we build 5 to 10 different repositories that take the protobufs and translate them to SPDK. And this is an actual code that people can take and productize. And Marvell, Intel, AMD,
I see what you're saying.
NVIDIA have this code that we can deploy, and this code have to be versioned, released. For example, when NVIDIA releases a new Docker, we have to update and release a new version of the bridge, because the bridge translates APIs to Docker.
Got it.
I'm going to interrupt you. I apologize. I just want to make sure that I capture what you're saying. I'm going to say it back to you, and then what I'm going to do is, okay. So what you're basically saying is that there are different code functions that need to happen to make this a unified solution, right? And to make our solutions unified so that when you're trying to deploy a DPU in the field, you have a series of solutions that are not vendor specific. They are OPI specific, right?
They are vendor specific. They can be vendor specific.
They can, but they tie back to OPI so that they're not vendor specific.
Exactly.
Right. So you're trying to basically solve the open source problem, the genuine open source code problem that OPI needs to solve. And that's what you're bringing up. And
yes,
I think
and it's okay if we decide not to do it. That's fine. And we leave ourselves into realm of other open source project outside of OPI. And the only thing we do is integration and scripting and demoing and showcases. But then if we want to showcase, for example, what Intel and Ericsson did with EVPN gateway on the networking side, who is going to do the coding?
I think this is a steer co conversation. I think that this actually needs to be addressed. I agree with you 100%. And I think this is a steerco conversation that we can take to the steerco tomorrow morning and talk about. What do you think about that, Paul? Or do you think that's biting off more than we can chew?
No, I mean,
I don't mind doing it in the steer. I don't care where that happens. It doesn't really matter. But POC is really when I think of the actual definition of a proof of concept, this is a space where we take all of the things that we said we were going to do and we test them out. Right. And I think that there should be I don't think the use case group is the right place for that, which you're talking about. And I think the API group is kind of the right place to do that. But I think that there does need to be a place where somebody is warehousing the things that unify the project from a scripting and software perspective. Right. But how much do we commit to there is a bigger question. Right, a more comprehensive question that should be feeding into what we're doing. That's the way I see it from a process standpoint. But then you're creating another working group and you're creating another meeting and you're creating another whole thing. So we need to talk about, does the Dev POC working group attach itself to or define itself by what we build in addition to what we find?
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think we need to document what you're saying and say this is a charter of this group. We are not developing any like serious code. We like taking and scripting and doing that stuff and glue logic. That's perfectly fine. But then once like Mersha, when we tested storage or networking that you did with Pensando, I believe, right? So who is developing? Yeah, who is developing the bridge code, right? If you find a bug, something is not working, who is the person that you go to? Today, you can go to API group, but they say we only deal with definitions. You can go to provisioning group, they say we didn't develop any code, we're just talking about Redfish. So there is no
I think what you're talking about is totally valid, Boris. And I think we need to just make sure, do we extend the question that we need to ask? So I think that the baseline is that we test out the code and hardware that other working groups are building, right? And then the question—
I disagree a bit. Sorry to interrupt, but okay, at least for internal POCs. From internal POC, I do even hardware, I do software, I do the demos, the test, everything. The POC, it's everything that you need to do. Even if you have to solder a transistor on the board, you will do it as part of POC to make your POC successful. Now, you're not going to productize that. I'm not going to ship to a customer green wires on a board, but I think as part of POC group, we can write code, we can do a bridge. I'm not going to productize that bridge, so it's not going to be shippable quality. But if I need to go in a bridge and write 2-3 extra functions, junky function, but to make it work, I'll do it. Will that be code that will go in production? Maybe not. But yeah, as part of POC, I would do anything.
I think that what you're saying and what Boris is saying are similar, but there's two slightly different things, but they're both important to call out.
My understanding is that Boris also asked about the quality part, which as part of POC, I do not commit to deliver quality code. I will deliver a nice magic show. I don't know how to say it differently, but I mean, I feel this is the role of the POC to show it working. How you made it work, yeah, glue it and tie it with rope, that's a different story.
So I think what you're saying is, in your mind, the definition of the POC working group is, hey, we're going to do whatever we can to deliver the right POC, and we're going to go back to everybody and solve the problem of the POC, the problems that the POC is finding. But we also need to ask the question to the larger group, OPI group, what are we doing about these spaces where all of the products need to connect with each other to deliver the value that we're trying inherently to deliver with OPI, instead of just talking about it in working groups?
Yep.
And I think that's that's the question that we all have. Like, how do we get pen to paper? How do we actually get the things built that we need to have built in order to deliver these proof of concepts that show the value to a telco or to somebody out in use case land that actually exists, instead of a lot of managers talking about what we should do? It's just that space, right? So I think that's a conversation to go back to Steerco with and say, how do we get the tactical stuff done that we need to get done in order to show the value of what OPI has to do, and where should that live? And Mersha, I know you don't want to do coding, but you don't necessarily have to if it does come back to us. I think there should be an arm of the POC working group that delivers that kind of value, but that's my opinion, right? We need to get agreement from other people that aren't us. But I think it's okay for us to go rogue. I'm all for going rogue too. So, I mean, sometimes you just got to get shit done. Thoughts, Stephen or Chetan? Is it Chetan or Chaitanya? Chetan? You don't have to have a thought about this either. You can just listen.
It's just the question of balancing the internal stuff versus what we can do here at the POC. But we're committed to be part of the working group and contribute in whatever way we can.
Yeah. Okay. Stephen, Paul, thoughts?
Yeah, so from my perspective, I'm primarily going to be here just to watch, keep an eye on what's going on, especially with respect to, Red Hat's potential involvement. I might be helping to find people, to help out where, something comes up, but I'm probably not going to be building POCs or anything at this point. It just doesn't
Perfect.
fit in with my day job anymore.
Stephen, is it is there anybody at Red Hat that would be interested in seeing what we delivered and
I
seeing
believe
if they
so,
could-
yes.
Yeah, and seeing if, you turned left at Albuquerque, but you should have gone straight, and it would have made it a lot easier. To get that kind of advice would have been great. Does that make sense?
Yep. I mean, there's definitely people at Red Hat that are actively working on, DPUs with OpenShift, and so having those people see this, I think, would be very valuable.
Good. Okay. And
So Stephen, it sounds like you've got an action item to go back to Red Hat and find and get an audience for the proof of concept that we've already done.
yeah, there is just so everybody knows, the video that I produced with very POC quality. It's not a professional video, but that video is going to go onto a blog on Monday, I've been told. So you'll all be able to see it there. It is right now on our drive, in our Google Drive. If folks are interested, let me put a link to it here. And once I find my cursor.
Yeah, so once that blog is published, I can get that off to these people. They can go out, watch the video, look at the blog, and then we can go from there.
Perfect. Yeah. Because, you were helpful. I did get a few little tidbits and pieces here and there as we were working on this, but if we were doing something wrong, I'd love that, not in a non-anti-pattern way to what Red Hat sees the patterns should be done. That would be good to know too.
When we get through this, I do have a kind of specific question about the POC, but we can continue with this discussion.
You can ask us about the POC. It's okay to jump around. I think we can go back to specific topics.
Sure. So my question is around, resources on the DPU in your experience with using single node OpenShift on it. you know, was there enough resource available on the DPU to do useful work? I think the answer must be yes, because you successfully did the POC.
So successful POC meant for us at this point was load balancing a few web servers, and like no concurrent connections, like one concurrent connection. So it was not there was no performance. It was purely functional. So could it scale to, I mean, these cards are all in the 100 gig realm. Could it scale to 50 gigs of traffic? I don't know. We didn't get there.
So yeah, we're sort of at this spot right here, Stephen, where we need to get software from, and I should change from Mercia to Keysight. We need to start instantiating traffic. We need to start generating traffic in our network, at least at F5. And that was where I wanted to kind of jump into this, like breaking out our environments, who's where and what they have built. Each Mercia has some of an environment built. F5 actually probably I think we have a more mature environment, but I don't want to assume that, Mercia.
I just think we have more cards than
Mercia does. That doesn't mean we have a more mature environment. And then we have Boris has an environment that he's built out, and then, like I already stated, we have the OPI environment that we need to build out. So I think that the place that we need to land on in here is to start going through the environments that we already have, like I just said, and then B, talking about what next steps are to start answering some of the questions like you just had. Because what's going on in the world is that we need to actually be able to walk outside of our internal environments and say, this is what it looks like to run traffic on a DPU, right? Or this, we run traffic through our environment this way, leveraging the solution that Keysight provided, and this is how it impacts these. This is what it looks like on these different DPUs, but that should also be internal test for those DPU vendors. And Mercia, my action item to you is, can you help us get some software at F5 so that we
yeah, it's free. You just do Docker pull and you get the free version automatically. No registration, no licensing, nothing. It's part of the POC that I have done on the OPI POC channel. I'll send you a link.
Great.
Okay, thanks.
What you get there, I think they're all x86 versions. I have one that we're working on now that it's compiled for ARM. I'm not sure when it's going to be published. That's for the scenario where you want to run it on the DPU itself and not pass it anything to the host. The other thing which I saw from the discussions now, and I'm looking at the lab, you had the diagram with VLANs and so on. The switch that we have in the lab, it's for management portion. It's an unmanaged switch. It's just a dummy switch. We will not be able in.
Can you show what you're talking about, please?
Yeah, you had the slides earlier.
You're talking about my environment or the environment?
Yes.
OPI?
Yeah, where you had VLAN 10, VLAN.
Yeah.
Yeah, the management switch in OPI lab, it's this one. It's for host interface. No, sorry, for VLAN 30 management and the host interface one VLAN 20.
But we don't have an external VLAN to generate traffic.
The
external would be on the
1 gig management switch in OPI lab. What I'm saying, it's an unmanaged switch. It's a
got it.
$100
and I think that would be
switch.
fine. We used 2 different switches here as well. So we have an NVIDIA Cumulus switch that we use for VLAN 10 and 20, and it's managed. And then the VLAN 30 is just like you said, an unmanaged switch. It's
no,
not
but if
VLAN 30.
this is the architecture, how it should be designed and how people are deploying it, then in that case, either I need to add a secondary switch, but maybe add a manage switch, so we can do VLANs on it and separate DPU management from the host management, because at this moment host interface 1 and DPU management interface are in the same dummy switch, and
Okay, so
they get IPs from their IT, so we can access them externally, or I don't know, I'll see how access is, but
right. Just a side note for you, we F5 are intending to send a pair of big IPs that could be used as the front end to this lab, could be used as a VPN endpoint if needed. So we can put those in wherever needed if needed.
okay.
But that's hardware we were intending to send. Joel Moses, who's on the board, is searching for that hardware now. He put in the request already, I believe.
Okay.
So Mercia, it sounds like that gets to you and then you install it. Who installs it?
No, we send
No,
it
it's
to
Hurricane Electric,
HE
yeah.
and we just tell them where to connect it. How to connect it.
What I found out recently, beside sorry from this group, is that every time we tell them something that costs money, it's like,
Yeah,
They pay dues to OPI.
yeah.
OPI should be paying them for it. Just how much?
It's a Sridhar, it's on all the emails, so basically Linux Foundation is paying the bill.
yeah.
Well, we're paying for it because we all put money into
Yeah, we are all members.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
It's our
So-
money.
Yeah, Merchant, what don't we have aren't you using an Arista switch for the high-speed switch for the DPUs?
For the 100 gig, yeah. But I was talking about the 1 gig management of the server and DPU are in the same dummy switch that I was saying. Yeah, the
Okay.
100 gig, it's an Arista where you can route the traffic any way we want.
Okay.
So this is why I'm saying this diagram with how the lab is laid out, we are not going to be able to do this in the lab. That's what I'm saying.
That's okay. If we have to do a different environment, we have to do a different environment. It's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's having to reconfigure and think of, because our customers aren't, the customers that we're going to end up dealing with or serving because of this are all going to be facing different organizational challenges in similar spaces, right?
Merchant, didn't we request a server that runs VMs, that runs VMware? Did we order that?
No, we didn't said what to run, if it's VMware, KVM, or whatever. Yes, we have it. It's there, has not arrived yet.
Okay. That's the one that I would think would be this VLAN 20. See where it says on the far right of this diagram, the VM or server. That one I would think that we could hook up to that Arista switch so that it could participate in, because the Arista switch can VLAN, can it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought so.
It
So
can
we
even
could
do some
put-
routing and so on.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll probably talk more tomorrow. I'm not gonna sidetrack this meeting, but
Yeah.
that was the only thing.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's okay to sidetrack this meeting. We're trying to figure out what we're doing. So it's all right. So, all right, I'm gonna review the notes that I have built out up to this point with everybody and see what we want to talk about next. Okay. So the first thing we did was, obviously these are the attendees in the room. I need to send you guys all the GitHub repo links if you don't already have them, so that we can talk about where things live. We were starting to define the scope of the group. We know that the baseline is to test out the code and hardware that other working groups are building. Right. And then the questions that actually need to go back to, there's a question that needs to go back to the steerco, which is around code quality and who is building out the bridges for delivery, right? Who's building out, who is building the unified work? The unifying work.
Yeah. Who is it that's taking all of the pieces that have been done and building a release?
Again, why is that POC group concern?
It's not necessarily. It's an okay
Okay.
question to ask, though. It's fine to ask.
I think it's a question that needs to be asked at the TSC.
Right. And we all work for different companies. This isn't a company where we have to be like, this isn't my job, right? Because this is our thing that we're building, right? So if we want to do that, then why shouldn't we? But if we don't want to do it, if it's the wrong group, then it's the wrong group. That doesn't mean you have to do it, Marcia, either. You know what I
No,
mean?
no. I've been, anyways, everybody's volunteering time, but
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, as part of the group. Okay, so it's for TSC to decide and find the resources.
I think so, but I also think it's okay to ask. I think it's something that's probably on people's minds, and I think it's okay for us to talk about it here. Like, for the most recent POC, Stephen had the question of how did resourcing going on the DPU. We don't know that yet because we haven't really aggressively started playing in that space, but we're trying to make forward progress both internally and both internally to our own companies and in the OPI lab, but we got to get the OPI lab built first. And then I wanted to break out the environments. And so we started to make a little progress on talking about the OPI lab itself. And then Stephen, you have an action item to go back to the Red Hat team and get an audience for the proof of concept work that we've already done.
After the video is published on Monday.
After
Even I'll Slack you if I notice it before you see it. So
Awesome, thanks.
and then Marcia's going to send Paul and I the link to get the Keysight software loaded so that we can, or to get the Keysight software loaded so that we can start answering Stephen's question, or try to answer Stephen's question, see if we can get somewhere to answer Stephen's question. And that's pretty much, I think, everything that we have covered today. Are you guys okay with the fact that I have made this meeting a weekly meeting? Does that work for everyone? Oh, thank you.
try it. Let's try it next week. And if it's too soon, we can change it.
And
Does that
then
work for you?
it works for me. I think next week I want to dive a little bit more deeply into the OPI lab itself. But I'm going to save it for next week because I feel like things are a little slow today, which is okay.
Laura,
Mhm.
just real quick, I notice on the calendar that this meeting is scheduled for 10:30, not 9:30 on the lists.opiproject.org calendar.
Okay, let me go there.
Do we need to change it there?
Probably. It shouldn't be at 10:30. It was supposed to have been at 9:30 because it's showing up on my calendar at 9:30 when I download it. I'm wondering
I
if
wonder if it broke with the daylight savings time switch.
It kind of, yeah.
Probably.
We had that problem before. I think the meeting got created maybe by Sridhar in the Indian time zone.
No, I created it and then
Oh, you created it. Okay.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, okay, that's weird. So it shows 9:30 when you click on the invite, but it says 10:30 a.m. when I just look at the invite. So I will figure that out. Let me see if I can download this again.
I'm gonna stop my share so you guys don't watch me in the background. Is it showing up on your calendar at 10:30?
It shows up on my calendar at 10:30.
Ooh,
That's why I was late.
that's no good. Here, let's see if I can fix it.
For me, it showed up as 9:30.
Okay,
It showed up as 9:30 for you.
let's see.
Well, it correctly showed up as 11:30 for me, which is my time zone. But
Yeah,
Okay.
this is 9:30 here, and it's showing as 9:30 in here, but it doesn't say what time zone it is. Oh, there it is, Pacific time. Yeah.
I wonder if you could put the meeting link in the description somewhere. The way that it's set up on the location in our Google Calendar, it actually tries to turn that into a maps request.
Okay.
So are you saying put the meeting link where?
Just in the description somewhere is fine.
Okay, sure. Let
Well,
me.
maybe it already is in the description. It's all the way down there. I just didn't see it and it didn't show up
If
as
I
a
think
link.
if I go in, I delete all that garbage, that'll help it. Hold on, let me, but you'd have to, let me go and delete this. I'm still kind of learning how to use this too, you guys, because this is a weird. Move you all over to my left. And I've just got a giant image of Paul there looking at things.
That's what everybody's looking for, I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, come on. There we go. That's not hard at all. I'm going to get rid of all the crap in here. Stuff in here. I'm not at work. I'm at work. There we go. Get rid of all of that. Okay, cool. Update event and group. All events. Okay, you should be able to download that, re-download that, and it'll show up a
Okay.
little bit more tidily.
Sounds good. Thank you. I will.
You're welcome. Okay, I'm gonna close this at this. I don't know that we need a full hour today. I think this was actually a really healthy start, and I'm really pleased with this meeting. Paul, I'm gonna take the last 9 minutes and use your time. Okay.
I
So,
put
Laura?
the link in chat for the.
Yes, I saw that, and I want to show
okay.
you that it's in my notes. I got to figure out where we want these notes to live because I am not using that awful interface that is on the OPI GitHub page for me.
Yeah, and if you try to make it work in your lab, just ping me and I'll hop on a Teams
Okay.
meeting or something. Zoom
Thank
and
you.
help.
Thanks, Marcia. We appreciate it. Yeah, so here in our notes, I put your traffic generator. That's the link to the GitHub repository. Okay. And I'll take these notes and copy them, I guess, to Google, or should I be storing them somewhere else? Should I be putting them in GitHub? Where do you guys want these to live? I can also copy them to GitHub and hope to God that they maintain their formatting.
There is GitHub has also a wiki stuff. Maybe we can put in the wiki these notes, not
Yeah,
in the
that's a
area
good
with
idea.
with a code, and
Okay.
have their meeting minutes for meeting date, and so on.
Yeah, I don't, that was a really untenable way of doing notes. Because you can't really read that. You have to keep going through by date. You can do date in a more file system way. I'll look for the wiki in GitHub. But
Okay.
I think that's pretty much everything, at least for today. Okay.
Where can I find
Okay.
the slide deck that you were showing, Laura, just to get more context?
It's actually right here. And Paul is going to hold on. Paul is, and I'll put it in the chat as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but it's a Google Drive. It's in the Google Drive. Is that the video or is that the slides that you sent out and put in Google Drive, Paul?
That is the video that I put in Google Drive.
Okay. There should be. I can put the slide deck in Google Drive as well.
There's a, Laura, just so you know, there's a OPI outreach group events OCP summit folder, and you can put it in there.
Okay.
Great. And Paul, I just checked. We'll send you the information in a few moments.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Chetan. And I'll put that in the Google Drive and then send you a link. What I just sent you was actually the video where Paul goes through the steps of orchestrating the environment. So, and leveraging a SCTP. That's okay. It's probably good information as well. All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate your time. I will send the action items that I have to do in the Slack channel once I have them updated, and I'll put these notes somewhere. Okay.
See you all.
Bye. Have a great day, Chetan. Thank you, Marcia.
Bye-bye.
Stephen.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
Thanks. Bye.
Appreciate you joining. That went reasonably well.
Yeah, it did.
Okay, I have a couple of things I need you to help me with real quick. I'll get there. I'll get to a point where I don't need you to help me with this stuff, but I still need to pick your brain for a minute, make it easy for me. And the easier it
Okay.
gets for me, the easier it will be.
Good enough.
Okay, first of all, I need to get to GitHub and figure out what the shit I'm doing there. What the hey I'm doing there. Can I get
Yeah, and I get it. It's a totally different, you have to learn Markdown.
Yeah, and I don't mind that. I just need to remember where I'm going all the time. Okay. I need to crap, GitHub.
So you'll go
I'll just-
there.
Hold on.
That's I put it in the chat. That's the OPI POC group. There is a meeting MD, or we can
Well, I gotta shrink you and me.
I don't know how to create a wiki here. So what you could go is go to that meeting.md file.
This is terrible.
It is terrible. Go to edit. There should be an edit. There's a pencil there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, where's the pencil?
Are you maybe you've got to log in first
Yeah, I do.
before the pencil shows up.
I think I need to go. Let's first. That's why.
Did you have it saved? It looked like you might have had it.
I've done this twice now where I've had to reset my password here because it's just not when you don't play in a space all the time, it's not intuitive. And I really kind of hate jumping between tools.
It drives me bananas that I have to play in this space, but that's what everybody wants to play in, so I do.
Oh, I see where. Oh, this is why. That's why I couldn't get in. Shit. All right.
Caps lock?
No. Oh, this is the problem. It's because I'm going in through Chrome instead of Bing, and Microsoft Outlook redirects me to Bing every time.
Oh.
Now I need to go to OPI project. Okay, and then I need to go to meeting.md.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oh, look, now I can edit this.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the pencil? This is terrible. Oh, Tim Worsley. I miss Tim Worsley, even though I'm really pissed at him.
Trying to see. So
On
you've got
the
a
right
pencil,
page.
meeting MD. God, it looks different than,
It did
oh,
the,
you've got to commit. So go back,
uh-huh,
click on meeting MD, the name.
okay.
That should open the file. Now you've got a pencil up there. Okay, now you can scroll all the way to the bottom. And you can go, looks like, can you there you go. You want to, lining it up is important here, making sure things, so you want a space between, so down, yeah, there you go. Hash, and then the date, today's date.
This is miserable.
And then enter.
Can I do this, or is this gonna?
I'm trying, can you
none
make
of
it
my-
larger at all? I can't see it.
None of my links crossed over. This is really shitty. I need a different solution than this. This isn't gonna work. There's no way to actually track action items.
In here? No. Mm-mm.
I'm gonna take what I built and put it into Google. Is there a place in, I'm gonna,
Let's
I guess
see.
I can send notes out over Slack too, can't I?
Yeah.
Let me check my Slack real quick.
Open programmable.
Go to OPI. Joel was all mysterious yesterday when he was talking about
Yes.
I was like, tell me what's going on with the open source community. You know, like it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Like if they're moving an open source community. If they're moving an open source community into, what's Canvas? There we go. Right. Close that. Add a canvas. Insert.
Is a canvas
This is, I don't want to do this. Hold on. This is bad. Create a folder.
okay.
All right, I'm going into Google Docs.
You gonna
Just
do
do
it
it
there and
anyway.
just post a link to it?
Yeah. Be there, okay, and I need to go. Need to actually log in as all that Hendrickson. Oh,
Oh, goodness.
sorry, I don't mean to be taking up so much of your time.
No, that's okay. I've got at least an hour before my next meeting.
And you don't actually help me with this per se, it's just I like the company.
You know, I used to do this. This is what Charlie Cano and Kent Munson and I used to do. We would get on a Skype call like this, and we'd
Yeah,
have each other in the
work.
background, and we'd each do our own work, but we'd be chatting amongst ourselves as we were doing it. And I'd get to a point, hey, where's that thing? And
Yeah.
someone would say, oh, it's right there. oh, let me send you the link. And that sort of stuff. It was, or hey, I'm about to send this email. What do you think? It was we do that for a couple hours a day.
Yeah. Well, it's a great way to actually get work done with other people without it being in the office.
Mm-hmm.
And then, all right, so I need to go. Share with me.
Your Google Drive is showing nothing.
My drive shared with me, recent. Is there a way to get into OPI?
You go to My Files. I go to drive.google.com. That's all I do. I don't know what Drive My Drive. Yeah, Drive My Drive should show you your files, but it's not showing anything. Is it? And I'm just not seeing it.
It's just not showing everything.
I go to Shared with Me,
Uh-huh.
find OPI, and then I star it.
Where is OPI though?
Holy smokes.
Am I just not organizing it correctly, or is it just not showing up organized correctly? Because there is all of the stuff here.
Do you have, it's Open Programmable Infrastructure Project Files is the name of the folder.
Open programmable infrastructure project.
Project Files is the
Right.
name of that folder.
OPI content. Let's see, what about, nope, that's a spreadsheet. What is this? Grid view. These are the files.
But yeah, you want to get to the main folder here. Copy that link. I'm going to put it in chat for you. So you want to get to that link. That may open the whole folder, and I'm not sure that's what you want, but
Folders. Minimum requirements. Org. Orientation. Did you say OPI outreach group or just presentations?
oh yeah, in the OPI outreach group, events.
EB events.
No, events.
I got it. Yeah. OCP summit.
And that's where you'd put that slide deck.
Okay, I'll take the slide deck and copy it here.
That's weird. Now I can see your screen.
Oh, you couldn't see it before?
It was just a green screen. It wasn't showing any content on your browser.
Oh, I need to upload it. That's why. How do I? Oh. So copy to this PC. Why is that not showing up? Because it's the version? Because it's PowerPoint?
No, you should be able to just drop it in there. Just drag it over that window.
Yeah, no, but it's not showing up. I can't see it. I just saved it to that folder and it's not showing up. So I need to figure out why. This PC. I must have gone into Aeon. Save. No, it already exists. It's because it's a PowerPoint. I think.
No, you see PowerPoints in here all the time. Is it still uploading? I mean, it's not that big.
No, It's not still loading. I'm gonna cancel this. I'm gonna start over. Oh, it's file upload, that's why. I knew I was doing something wrong there.
I just drag it into the window.
Yeah, you do, don't you? Uh,
I just drag it.
oh, okay, I gotta close this. All right, so that's uploading. And then once that's done, I need to,
Why don't you go back to the other window real quick and I'll show you it. There it is. I see it. Go back to that folder. That events folder.
all right.
I don't see it. I don't see your screen update. But across the top, you see events.
I see OPI outreach group and then I see events. And then underneath it, I see 2023 Mobile World Congress. I see 2023 OCP Summit and 2023 Smart Next Summit.
If you right click on shared with me, do you see it? No, man, that's just
It clicked me back here. Up and down. Do you see my screen?
I do. Well, I did.
Yeah, I just turned it off. I just killed it. Go back. Events.
If you go to share, click on the shared with me up at the top
Mhm.
and then change it to folders. Then you should see the OPI one. Right click on that, I think. And you can, that maybe 3 dots, and you can star it. Can you star it? Let me see. Yeah, if you go to right click on that folder, choose organize, then you can star it, and then you can always see it on the side. So go shared with me, type folders.
All right. Whoa.
That's a new one.
It's because I'm already inside of OPI.
Yeah, you want to go back one. There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
And then the 3 dots.
3 dots, organize.
Okay.
Add to starred. Bing. Now on the far left side where you've got starred is you got my drive shared with me.
Got
starred.
it. Okay, thank you.
Now you can always find it.
Thank you for doing that. I appreciate you helping me through adulthood. Okay, so I want to go into the OPI outreach group or no? Presentations? Where do I want to be?
Oh, to create these?
I just want to put my notes somewhere that's actually a linkable space instead of the shit show that is GitHub.
Yeah, let's do this.
I could technically put it into GitHub if there's a notes tool. There's something to connect. Let me do this. Let's try this. How do you add a notes tool to GitHub? That doesn't help me at all. Okay.
There you go. So what I just did is
What
I
did you just do?
in GitHub, not GitHub, sorry, Drive, open programmable infrastructure. I created an OPI PoC work group folder.
Thank you.
Inside that, I create meeting minutes,
Thank you.
create a new file. So just right click new. And and then you can copy your notes in there, then you can get a link and paste that to Slack.
Wait, where do I right click new? What do you mean right click new?
Yeah, I think just right there. Does it not
Here.
work for you on? How about new up the top where it says drive and plus new? A little more to the left, all the way to the left. A little farther.
Thank you.
There you go. New.
Google Doc.
Yep. There you go. How about that? And then
Okay. I'm going to save it as. I'm going to rename it. 11/8/2023.
I think slash will break it. Just saying.
What?
I don't know if you can put a slash in a file name.
Working group. Meeting notes.
Yay.
That took forever.
What's that?
Where will
Yes.
come on Slack?
Oh my gosh. Why
I'd
do they
rather-
make all this so difficult?
Yep. This is like my whole day is this. Fine, fine. What else do I need to do? Anything? Okay, that's good. That's making forward progress. And then the other thing that I need to do is change this link. So let me go back here. Google Docs. No, I need to go back to home to start and then go here. Then I need to go to presentations or OPI POC presentations. No, this is wrong.
Events.
Mhm.
Isn't there OPI outreach? Yes. And then events. Got it.
Okay, I did everything I needed to do today. I'm done. I can go back to bed now.
You win.
I win. Yay. So now I have to go into work because, oh shit, am I missing a meeting? I bet I am. What do I
Sorry.
have
if
going
you
on right
are.
now? Hold on. Do I have meetings right now? What's my meeting today? My next meeting is not until 1:30, 12:30, so I'm good. All right, I need to change my clothes. I gotta go into work.
Okay.
Thank you, Paul. This is great. And I think we made good progress in that meeting. I was okay that it was a little bit spinny. Because really what I was trying to do was set a tone. And I know we're gonna have to manage Boris, but Boris is not as hard to manage as everybody acts like he is.
Yeah, no, I think he's just fine.
Yeah.
He is just fine.
I'm a little upset that other people can't handle him because he's really not that big of a deal.
No, he just has he's brusque, and that's okay.
He's also got a point of view.
Yeah.
And why I know that's hard, but anyway, I kind of wonder how Tim Worsley's doing. Sort of curious about him. I need to ping him. But I also don't necessarily want to know.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna let you go. I gotta go do things. I really appreciate your help as usual. We need to impress upon you. Are you on the board as well, or is it just Joel?
Joel is on the board. I am, because I'm the outreach work group chair, I attend the meetings in a non-voting capacity.
Can you please keep him on track to ask about Mobile World Congress?
Yes,
Because he will forget.
it's on my list as well.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I have to present a few slides on how the outreach group is doing.
Okay. What do you need help with right now? My one-on-one with Roxy is this afternoon too, so I will bring up.
Yeah,
How do you want me to bring that up this afternoon?
I mean, is anything gonna happen before TJ gets here?
If I drive it, yeah.
I
can push it out. I'll ask her, what do you need me to do to get that proof of concept or that use case in front of or onto the commitment tracker?
Yes, that's one. I mean, that's probably the biggie, is how do we get the NVIDIA MGX F5 running on ARM on a DPU?
I don't want to lose that deal.
Yeah, how do we move that forward?
Okay.
Because and from my point of view, it's the only infrastructure level play that F5 has. Everything else is we're trying to add sprinkles on top of an already built cake.
Yeah.
Rather than, oh, we can attach ourselves to who's building the cake itself.
Right.
So.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got to get to work. Thank you for existing, and I will talk to you soon.
All right, talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.